Check out theScore eSports for all of your Dota scores, stats, and news. Get it on the iOS App Store or Google Play today. So, gentlemen, we're moving into game number 3, the ace match of Virtus.Pro and Invictus Gaming. We talked about it briefly before we had that break. Nahaz, I want to hear your thoughts. Virtus.Pro looking very confident and strong in game 2. Do you think game 3 will be equally stompy one way or the other, or a much more even footing now that we've seen the 1-1?
No, I mean, I think almost when you prepare to face a team like VP, you know they're going to come out of the gate with at least one of these strats, and you almost expect that you're going to have one rough game against that team. I think IG, they're a veteran team. They're going to come back, and game 3 is going to be really good.
There was some good old Russian Dota. I just want to have a rinse and repeat and just go for game 3 just like that. The outcome to me is it's not that important for who wins, but I just want to have good Dota.
As long as people die.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. The fear. Your inner warrior coming out here. You just want to see a bloodbath.
Exactly.
No, we've all, by the way, since the beginning of TI, we've had almost exactly 500 games, and that's only the 16th game that's ended before the 20-minute mark. So really rare, and not very usual to see a lopsided win like that at the pro level.
Absolutely. So here we are, the draft for Game 3 already underway. Alchemist and Gyrocopter banned out by Virtus.Pro, Earthshaker and Queen of Pain, the heroes eliminated by IG.
No surprises there. Earthshaker, one of DK Phobos' best heroes, and Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
We just saw G do really well on it, so not too surprised to see that banned out.
Could be Alina first pick, to be honest. I think, I mean, that's what they did the previous game. They didn't want to give the Lina away, and it's probably one of the better mid heroes as well for the Dire side. You're like fine going into that into the lane. I know Lina got a nerf, but I still think it's a solid mid hero.
Yeah, she's barely worse in my opinion. I mean, she did get a Yule's nerf. That one was pretty big. The range was
that's the
much
problem.
Smaller, but
it's both the Yule's and the Bloodstone, right? So she got the direct nerf as well as a couple item nerfs.
Bloodstone is situational. I'm not saying she's not good, but I think the Bloodstone nerf to Lina was pretty minor. I think it was more of a Lesh and a Storm nerf. Like, she buys it sometimes. It's not an always kind of an item for her, so it's pretty inconsequential, I feel.
I don't think it's inconsequential, but I mean, I think we're going to get to the same place. I agree the hero is still very much viable, and especially in the hands of a guy like G, it's a hero that still has a lot of value. I mean, DK Phobos, by the way, I think it's kind of wrong that a minute ago was like the first time that we've mentioned his name in this series, because he's extremely underrated as an offlaner. His KDA in the last patch was second only in Universe among all pro offlaners, and he's a guy that really keys a lot of VP's action.
Yeah, to some newer comers to Dota 2, Phobos may seem like someone who's just recently come into the Dota scene, but he has been around forever. He's actually one of the older players. He's 26 or 27, and he spent time as a programmer working for Navi. He knows this game inside and out.
And he is, depending on the time period you look at, he actually often has the lowest average kill count on VP. He's a guy that plays very aggressive initiating heroes, but is very good at getting in and out of fights, keying that kind of action that we saw in the last game.
Well, maybe he can do it again. Played Phoenix the game before, played decently, but do you want to rant about Phoenix now?
I mean, here the hero was 34% win rate in the last patch. I mean, by far, like not even close, the lowest win rate among all the heroes that were picked 50 or more times. I don't think the hero's a viable offlaner. I really don't.
He did get buffed though. His Sunray does more damage, and it's a percentage base. So in the late game, it's pretty serious damage output. But I feel like most times Phoenix does fights. He dives in, he casts Fire Spirits, and then he ultis. And usually the fight is decided before the Supernova goes off. And almost all fights, I feel, especially when you're losing. So maybe he needs to be transitioned in playstyle a little bit. Maybe just keep a 1 dive into 4.
But let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this one. I don't think we're going to see a Phoenix here, and I think the picks and bans have been on point so far. What do you think we're going to see here in the second phase?
I think the draft goes actually sort of the same direction. It's going to be mid-oriented. It could be that the bounty hunter harasses middle, but they might actually try to fake that as well to show that they might put a lot of focus on that Shadow Fiend lane, harass him with a bounty hunter, and then you get a lot of protection on the side of IG here. But it could also be something like the first game where you even go into something like Lina plus CK. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the combo again, because I do believe bounty hunter and CK is actually quite nice together.
I still am not sold on the CK.
I like the movement speed buffs that you get. Like, you catch up, you fight, and you benefit from the bounty gold.
He doesn't need to catch up that much though. His base movement speed's already really high. Reality Rift is a pretty good catch.
It's the vision part though. You want to jump someone close. And
now, why do you go for the Skywrath here over the Rubik, which we saw played so well for them?
I think Skywrath's still a viable support hero. You don't necessarily need the stuns. You can solo gank. You can snowball much harder as your hero.
He can feed so hard to a bounty hunter.
But I think the factor why they use Skywrath is because he will pressure on mid lane a lot. You just come middle, you just harass the mid hero. That's pretty much what you do.
Yeah. Or
for 2 ways.
You can cast Concussive Shot and then silence Lina, and then 1 raise is going to do way more damage.
But it's such a risk. I thought your comments, Purge, on the last game were so on point that you saw the focus on early defensive support rotations in the last game from IG, and it really only takes 1 aggressive VP gank to just undo so much of what you've done early game.
Yeah. I would like to see a combo here, though. Something like a Sand King or Clockwork, so you actually have a
I'm surprised Clockwork is still in. I think Clockwork's the hero for IG, honestly. Clockwork and Skywrath. If you're going to pick the Skywrath mage second phase, I always like the Clockwork follow-up.
Yeah. The one problem I see is that you're giving away your lanes. It's set pretty much what's going to happen. And maybe it's it could be a downside that you know that Spirit Break is going to be support, Skywrath is support, and you kind of know what rotations are going to happen. But although I still believe you want to have a stun for the Skywrath.
If memory's serving me, doesn't Luo play the Spirit Breaker pretty frequently in IG?
He does, but Chuan's played it as well. So in fact, small sample, but in fact coming into this, Chuan had actually played it twice to Luo's only once. But in general, I think Luo's a little bit better on that hero.
But it is definitely open-ended. There's no guarantee that this is a 4 Spirit Breaker.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, SP Sky is okay. It's you have to be a little careful when you're playing Skywrath with it, but it's a decent setup, especially if you get 4 in charge. It's 2.2 seconds of stun, and the Sky ult's about the same thing.
Exactly.
And SP does magic damage, and Sky's going to be able to amplify that. I don't think it's terrible as it is. They don't need another hero to set it up. They just need like maybe a stun or 2, maybe a ranged stun, something, maybe an AoE, and I think their combo comes together just fine. The only downside is maybe 2 magic focused right now, but they still have Shadow.
Wow.
Wow.
Now this is a shame.
Baby.
First LC of the tournament.
And a 3rd pick. Just kind of out of nowhere. Where's the advantage here?
There is a lot of disagreement among players that I've talked to about the value of a Legion commander. There are a lot of players that feel that she's a very good offlane now. I've heard whispers of her maybe even being run mid or in the safe lane. I think this hero is really interesting.
I do believe it's for exactly that reason, that it is a strong offlaner, because in the game before they picked the Darkseer, you just want to pressure the offlane. You want to put as much focus on your other lane when mid gets harassed a lot. So when you have a Darkseer and you focus so much on middle, Darkseer will have a good time. And in that case, you have a Legion Commander. If they still focus a lot on middle, Legion Commander is going to have a good time on the offlane.
Could this be a setup for a potential Wisp Legion Commander combo? You've got the Bounty Hunter to kind of scout things out.
Definitely, it could work.
I don't know. You don't have any control, and I think this screws with that so hard.
I'll agree with that.
Oh, and he's going to come back. Wow.
Okay.
Wow. They're going to go to that again. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit.
One really cool interaction here is that Luna's aura gives really good night vision. I mean, they may not have picked it just for that because they picked it so fast, but it's going to really limit the effectiveness of Night Stalker's vision advantage whenever he pops his ultimate. I don't know what the vision is. I don't know if Lunar Blessing gives a flat, but
I'm pretty sure the interaction is that every hero, while nighttime is casted, is that it gets the flat rate. No one has an advantage on the vision.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that's the case.
Okay.
But the Night Stalker is really, again, on the list of heroes that we're all wondering about, I think, in 6.85, the Night Stalker's got to be up there. Because that HP regen buff all of a sudden makes him back into a very, very viable offlaner.
Or support.
Do you think, this is what I was going to ask you two, do you think in this situation you prioritize the Spirit Breaker or the Night Stalker as a 3? I still like the Night Stalker, I think.
Yeah, I think Night Stalker's a little better as a 3, because I'm imagining like a fast level 6 on Night Stalker could do a lot more damage on the board, whereas the Spirit Breaker might not do as much.
Oh, God.
Okay. Brewmaster, the final choice here for Invictus Gaming.
Good against Luna.
Yeah, yeah. Is this going to be a Ferrari Brew and a Rabbit SF?
I don't know if that's good.
It should be an SF middle.
Pretty much always SF mid.
No, I'm wondering if they're going to swap around the players, because Ferrari's Brew is pretty strong too.
Well, this gives them the control that they were lacking, that's for sure.
And it makes him good if he's soloing versus Legion. So the supports can leave the lane and go do other stuff, and Brewmaster's not going to be threatened like a hero.
And it is a support leaning.
So greedy though.
Okay. So they played support Lina a lot at TI actually. Lil was the one. I'm sorry, not Lil. FNG would go mid with a level 1 Dragon Slave.
Right.
You'd harass the solo hero a little bit, but with Lil playing it, may play it like he played Leshrac. Sit back, harass the offlane, do some pulls, get some solo farm. we'll see.
It's pretty good for the mid game. At least you have that instant burst that you can use with the Legion Commander once Legion Commander gets a dagger.
Yeah.
It's quite good, but I think the lane in itself is not that great. Lina is just, you don't really have a setup. It's going to be hard for Lina to get that kill potential on the lane.
All right, well, more hero diversity here as this tournament continues. Again, we need predictions here coming into the Game 3. Purge, based on the drafts, what are you thinking?
I really am rooting for, I'm going to say VP.
Yeah, I got to go VP. I feel like their lineup is just easier to execute here.
I'll stick with VP. I like the draft.
Okay.
And I think the heroes are pretty cool.
All right, well, we'll see if the casters agree. Toby, take it away. Game number 3.
I almost don't want to give my opinion straight off the cuff here, Blitz, because I want to wait till I hear yours a little bit more here. IG and VP, the panel was saying VP have an easier draft to execute, but I'm liking what IG has to work with at the same time.
I just like flat-out aggressive lineups in general, and this is what IG have. They've got a hero like Night Stalker who is not a passive hero whatsoever. Same with the Brewmaster. You know, when you have a Brewmaster on your team, you're not playing for the early game, or you're not playing for like the absolute late game. You're trying to dominate the early game as much as possible. And it's kind of similar in that last game where the Brewmaster, you know, the Slardar wanted to go for the quick Blink Dagger. It's even more imperative this game that Rabbit has that good start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that was the big thing we kept saying it was missing. Like, where is that initiation? The other thing I want to keep my eyes peeled for is when the team fights begin, is who Legion Commander is capable of locking down or who the Shackles are going to connect on. Because the concern has always been for like a Brewmaster. You jump in and you have to ask yourself the question, can you get your clap off before you go for your split? Can you get that initial damage and control? Because once that control comes up, you've got a lot of units to soak up the aura, the ultimate of Luna, that eclipse which she has. You've got ways to disable the Legion Commander when she's in the middle of the duel, be it the Storm Brilling, just to send her straight up. You've got a lot of different control factors to come out from that, which will just cause complete chaos, more chaos than what a Slardar would have created. So I kind of want to watch how that initiation also functions. For now, we get to watch the middle lane as God actually went for win run level 1, and Ferrari's dropping low, but they weren't expecting Chuan to be here as well. As God, the Wraith will connect. One more attack from TJ, and there's the orb. God's going to go down, and there was nothing FNG could do about it. IG were waiting for BP to get aggressive, and they completely countered the attack.
That was so weird to see 5 heroes total in that mid lane at just like 10 seconds into the game, and that was just like a perfect storm of circumstances. G immediately pops the win run so he can trade hits, but what he doesn't realize is that the supports from IG are right behind him, and
he's in trouble.
Might have actually just suicided and blown that lead now.
Yeah, Chuan came in to try and slow down FNG. He saw that there was 3 creeps really low. He went for the one last raise. That raise would have given him his bottle, so he thought, you know what, it's gonna be worth the risk, and ends up losing a fair chunk of money, and God just capitalizes on the situation with the help of FNG.
I mean, that was a really weird circumstance from both teams because they committed so much, and then Ferrari just gets a little bit too over-aggressive and just assumes that the bounty hunter ran away, but he has to play that a little bit more carefully because he has to understand, okay, the Wind Ranger's going to TP in, she'll be here any second, I can just as easily blow the lead that I just got, that my team provided, and he has.
Because they could have just made every other lane passive from that point and just like look for the farm. And they need to really find that farm. They need to find that ability not to give VP anything in the mid or that bottom lane. Because the top lane, Illidan's already 11 for 3 under 2 minutes in. Like, he couldn't be stopped in game 1. How are they going to stop him in game 3? I'll say game 2 to game 3.
Yeah, and Luna's one of those really strong heroes just because she's able to buff up her supports too and make their right clicks even stronger. And just because of her move speed and her ability to kite, like with just flat boots, she's running at 380 right now. That's so strong when it comes to just simple harass. And Chuan stopped immediately in his tracks by Lil there, and nice stun by him, but just trying to rotate in, seeing what he can do if he was able to make his way mid. But even wasting Chuan's time like this is perfectly fine because at this bottom lane, look how much DK Phobos is getting out of this.
Yeah, he got really aggressive. Actually went for a 0-1-2 build, so the 2 points up in the moment of courage, actually bypassing the overwhelming odds in this lane. But he knows he's going to be pressured even more. Looks like Night Stalker actually ends up dying to the attack up on top. There's also a charge coming in on bottom lane. King J's only got 1 orb available, but if Rav can get in range for the clap, which he actually can't. He'll pick up his boots now, so he's got the movement speed. That's a good pick off for VP up on the top lane, and they may just get it again, because Lure TP's forward, runs in, there's your, okay, Illidan was baiting out the loser beam. Now they're going to actually get the slow. Lil is not in range. He can only go for the Slave. Are they actually going to dive under this tower? The Slave will connect over on Luo, but with the Void FNG, he's too deep. They couldn't switch the aggro in time, and that gives a free kill to Luo on this top lane.
Oh no, they wanted to try to get aggressive, but Lil was just a little bit too far back, and you have to open with his stun to be able to get that kill. Like, the Night Stalker has 6 armor. He's not going to go down easy, and on top of that, he already has boots and that stout shield, and for them to just give up that kill at top, he's already up to 1,300 net worth in this game. That's even more than Rabbit has right now.
Yep. Rabbit might be losing a little bit more in a moment too. The TP came in from FNG. Now, he does have this Janata attack with the Orb of Venom to slow down Rabbit. And Phobos, well, he's got a little bit of battle behind him, but they don't actually have enough control. And they're not baiting the clap out from Rabbit either.
He's playing it pretty safe, but at the same time, you really don't want to see a Legion Commander have more net worth than your safe lane Panda. And I'm just getting flashbacks of that last game where the Brewmaster, he was playing the Slaughter, wasn't able to really get too much, and
yep,
DK Phobos, last game, he wasn't able to get as much as he wanted, but this game, he's getting so much out of
They're coming in. They're trying to take something back from him with the clap, the crush, and then with the Orb attack coming in, they get an extra bash out from Torvus.
He's not gonna die.
Phobos, the Orb attack is flying after him. Does he have the regeneration to survive? He's actually coming back up again, and he does survive through it. Now the rest of VP are coming in. Gold with the haste and guess the shackle onto Rabbit. The Slave will connect, allowing FNG to finish the job. And Chuan, there's not enough mana for a charge away. It's being pinged down, and God still got this haste rune, so he can catch up to Chuan. He's looking for the angle, and Chuan's not going to give it to him. All he wants is the shackle, but Chuan doesn't have the movement speed. He's going to go down anyway, trying to move up to the camp, and they'll just power shot to kill him off, and then reveal the double stack. So they'll mop up the creep wave, and they'll take the stack as well. Maybe revenge can be done on this top lane. Illidan doesn't TP out in time. Ferrari just rotates in, and that's probably the one big difference between what happened in Game 2 and Game 3. Ferrari's getting souls, Ferrari's getting momentum, especially with that last hit on the safe lane Luna.
Yeah, last game it was the Luna constantly rotating and just making life such a pain, and G's rotation does pay off, but at the same time, so does Ferrari's, and his priority target on that Luna was huge, because last game we just saw that Luna kind of do whatever she wanted, like you said. She was able to just snowball, pick her fights whenever she wanted.
Yep.
That was the huge part, is that she was just able to have a free lane uncontested and kind of just pick whatever fights that she wanted to take.
And when she came to the fights too, because she had that uncontested lane, the money in the farm was there.
Exactly, and so even if the fight doesn't work out, okay, she's still ahead in net worth, but this time around Illidan is going to get punished for it, and at the same time though, the Brewmaster is struggling so hard right now. The Legion Commander being able to survive there, and on top of that, just having more net worth than the Brewmaster at this phase of the game is pretty ridiculous.
I am wondering though how long VP can keep this up. Like, okay, so Illidan ends up dying. What is then the result of this action? Illidan doesn't feel confident enough to come in for the rotations if IG try and force something during this nighttime stage. Right now, Phobos is just roaming around. He's not spending a lot of time at the bottom. So the Brewmaster is going to find this space that he really, really needed to get up to the Blink Dagger. Maybe even just rushing it over, getting the early Arcane boost, just going straight into that Blink Dagger. So he's there for the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about how much farm this Legion Commander does, and he actually does have quite a bit, but just look at how farm Luo is. Being able to pick up that kill when they went for the overextension and just getting a lot of farm so far. He's level 6. They want to go for the dive on G right now. And
they go for the silence and the void and the razors. They hit so hard with the charge coming in from the Spirit Breaker. They ensure the kill, but Lil is going to make Chuan stick around a little bit longer. Now, Phobos is not level 6. The duel is not available, and Luo is still fighting within nighttime, so he's happy just to void up Phobos. And then Ferrari just muscle his way up to the high ground of the dire side mid.
Such a huge gank, being able to slow down that Windranger's momentum. Last game, we didn't really see Ferrari get off to that hot start, but this time around, so many levels. We saw it was like level 6 or something like that at like 10 minutes into the game. This time around, he's doing the appropriate thing, just kind of focusing on his own farm, and he's playing so aggressively in this mid lane so far.
It's going to be the bigger change too. The first time that VP could really force a fight, Ferrari will have Requiem with max souls.
Yeah, last time that was something that they sorely lacked, and more importantly, this actually feels like he's going to get whatever item timing he wants.
I'm still surprised VP are happy to try and take these fights. Like, during the first nighttime phase, like, yeah, you killed off Luo, that was amazing, but he also was able to be given a free kill, so he found levels, he found farm, and VP keep trying to engage into him during nighttime. It almost feels a little futile.
that was the worst part, is giving him a free kill like that just pumped up his net worth so much. Being able to give him those free treads, like a free 1,000 HP that he's got, he's able to contest this Luna, and this is what we saw from them in the first game, where they rotated so many heroes to the safe lane, and Illidan's not going to be able to survive this one, I think.
The daytime is about to wear off, however, so they need to get that Void off before him, which they did do so, and Illidan just trying to outrun this Ferrari. He's getting body blocked up by the rest of his team, and now Lil actually doing the body block too. They'll turn on the Eclipse from Illidan. He'll pop out one, but it was only Chuan. It was only the Spirit Breaker Ferrari going for the YOLO raise, unable to connect.
Coming from behind.
He actually moves himself in. Luo needs to silence off. He's trying to get Ferrari out. There's raise one. The stars not allowing God to finish the job, but the physical damage of VP will be more than enough. They'll punish Ferrari for coming up here, but I still want to ask the question, like Phobos getting farmed in mid, who's doing what about Rabbit? He's at 1,700 gold. That Blink Dagger is not going to be stopped this game.
That's perfectly fine though. That rotation top was so huge. I thought for sure the Luna was going to die, but it's those little moves that really determine what makes a top quality player, and that was what Lil was able to do when he just body blocks to make sure that they're not able to get in range once again, because that should have been a dead Luna 100%. He's able to get the body block off, and on top of that, Illidan just recognizing, okay, I can throw down my ult, probably get a kill out of it, manages to nab Chuan, making that a 1-for-1 trade, and more importantly, G coming in from the rotation, nailing that kill on Ferrari. They had to slow his momentum, and they do.
Yeah. And he's going to have to take a couple of minutes to get it back again. Not just the momentum of farm, it's the souls, because he ends up losing them as well. I still add the big question mark, like, then again, can VP ever stop Rabbit from getting to this Blink Dagger? Like, he knows how close he is. Missing that last hit's not going to help him. And maybe that's too why Illidan is the man who's pushed to this off lane now.
Yeah, you just want to be able to contest them a little bit. They've got to feel a little bit confident that Rabbit's still a little bit a ways away from it, or they might at least feel that
Bounty.
way.
They actually they don't have perfect vision on him. It's only because the charge is there. They know where the bounty hunter is moving.
They've got a dust.
And yep, this is Chuan trying to ensure the kill. Now they haven't run over a Dire Observer Ward. In fact, the Dire Observer Ward's inside the lane, but Chuan's going to pull out of the charge. The Dire Vision only hit once the heroes came in range. Maybe they saw him when he went past the tier 1 tower in mid.
DK Phobos, his farm slowed down quite a bit after the laning phase, just trying to focus on trying to get whatever farm that he can this time around, and he has to have that Blink Dagger. That's kind of the downside of this Legion Commander, is that he's so reliant on that Blink, whereas when you're playing, for example, the Night Stalker, you can just kind of base it off of the nighttime timings, and you're going to be okay with it. Like, you're still going to be effective with just pretty much treads, whereas the Legion Commander desperately relies on that Blink.
She's just not there yet. And I'm wondering too now if she's going to be forced to fight before actually having that Blink, because the Blink is up for Rabbit. Like, he's moved into the middle lane. You've got Luo here as well. Now they just got level 8 in Night Stalker, which means they can force the nighttime when they attack into the mid. The track will come up, and that meant FNG thought he was very, very safe. Try to actually do the D-Ward at the same time. They just punch him back. There's Ferrari with the Razor finds the kill, and this is what IG tried to do in game number 2. Get the kill, take the tower. Let's see if they can actually finish the tower. Already Luo is getting very aggressive, moving into the Dire Jungle, seeing the fact that VP were actually farming stacks at the same time.
Yeah, they're trying to play smart, aggressive Dota like they did in the first game. Smoke up, go for these objectives. Don't be so desperate. Like, wait for your item timings and your levels, and this is what they did this time around. Rabbit was like, I'm not coming, guys. I'm going to guarantee myself a Blink Dagger this time around. We're not going to just take YOLO fights over and over again. We're going to make sure that even if we lose a fight, at least I have a Blink Dagger to fall back on. And this is exactly what they did. But it is nighttime, but at the same time, you've got to be pretty cognizant of the fact that you've got a few heroes that are tracked. You don't want to accidentally blow a fight. You've got to feel pretty comfortable if you're IG because you have that split. But at the same time, the nighttime is going to come back pretty soon, and this is a 5-man rotation for VP.
Maybe it's that moment where you say VP actually help IG by picking up the bounty hunter, because it's making them play more passive, unlike game 2. And it's just ended up being a stalemate. Like, they've had the little battle for vision. The rotation is now coming out from VP. They're getting out of here. They pick up a bounty rune. God's going to go to the bottom lane. And Ferrari was making his way up to the top 2.
Yeah, I think IG just kind of realized, okay, they've got the Luna ultimate. You've got a lot of different heroes that can just kind of spam back. We don't really want to overextend with Rabbit on our team if we can help it, because this first brew split is going to mean so much. You have to guarantee yourself a win here just to establish map control.
They just want to finish the tower though. Like, fortification's down, so that like IG know they can just force attack, force it. There is your brew. Brew jumps in the back, catches out Lil. The stun's going to keep the win range around this fight, but Lil, he just keeps running. They'll have to send him up. Chuan charging all the way through, keeping Illidan and Phobos back behind the tier 2 tower, so they ensure the kill over on the Lina. That mid tower, it was destroyed by the Skywrath Mage. Somehow, King J was able to find that timing, and now FNG somehow managed to find all of IG right on top of him. The Eclipse will come out from Illidan, only 2 beams down, 3 into Luo. It didn't do enough work, and Sean is going to try and punish it, charging himself in, instantly press the attack, pulls him back out again, but you've got the jump in forward from Rabbit, collapse onto Illidan, a triple kill for Ferrari. The power shots drop Luo down low. He is tracked up, but Phobos can't find an opening. He definitely can't find a duel.
If they hit that shackle, maybe they get the turnaround kill there, but Dota at this phase of the game, Toby, entirely a numbers game. You take a fight 5v3, you have to understand, if you don't immediately get a kill, you just have to run away. There's zero chance that you're going to win that fight at that point. The Brewmaster is still strong enough to kind of play that kite game around you, and it's nighttime at the same time, and VP, I mean, they felt like they had to get something out of after that brew split, but
yeah.
Now that they had a first successful brew split, this is kind of what you want to do. Establish the tempo, play around that cooldown timing, and when you're able to get a tower and get a few kills off of it, you can kind of play around that timing and not feel so desperate. You can say to yourselves, okay, we're just going to use this as a tempo controller. Ferrari's getting really far ahead. He just got a triple kill. We can kind of slow the pace of this game down. Just play around that cooldown.
Well, they could try it, but IG is going to keep forcing it. That mech being on Ferrari means that IG just have that strength in the team fights, which won't always rely on the Brewmaster split in order to win it. They can just get away with both nighttime as well as mech to do the work. Even King J having Mystic Flare now available. How much does that Legion Commander not want to duel when that Mystic Flare will just get dropped right on top of her?
They're trying to take a fight, though, because they know for a fact that the Brewmaster ultimate is on cooldown, and this is one of their better opportunities. But they have to be pretty decisive because it's going to be up in just 20 short seconds.
They have the advantage that Chorn's out of position. And Chorn's all the way down on bottom lane. He can try and charge up here. Phobos running 40, starts the duel. It's over on Ferrari. Who's going to win this one? Phobos, he's actually looking in position, but the mech, he doesn't finish the duel. The mech gets up from Ferrari, and now they can turn around. Chuan TP's up, charges right after Lil. There's no Laguna Blade trying to punish anything. Rabbit even has the split off cooldown in 2 seconds time. It may not be required. They're down low, and he just goes straight for it. He wants to control up Phobos, and this will allow him to go for more. Phobos has no way to fight. It's a double kill for Luo. They catch the Wind Ranger out. She goes directly into the Wind Run, but the stun will connect. They can go into the tower. Lil still here, goes for Light Strike Array. It's minimal damage to Luo, and you find that bash percentage connecting into God. He runs the tree line, but Rabbit with a clap. One more hit. Luo's there. Just punch him. There it is. 4 heroes down, and Lil's about to follow the charge in from Chuan. The cow claims its meat, and the tier 1 tower will take considerable damage. Ferrari with the DD rune that entire fight, and he got the mech off.
Unbelievable fight from IG. Rabbit just completely outplayed them. Tornadoes up one hero, catches up to him, makes sure that the Lina can't get out at the same time, isolating heroes left and right. Ferrari lets loose with that ultimate in that back line, slows down VP just enough for IG to catch up, and I mean, against IG's lineup, if you're not immediately winning the fight, you're not getting out. I'm sorry, but you're not. Rabbit's got a Blink Dagger, you've got Chuan constantly charging heroes, you've got a hasted Night Stalker pretty much at night running after you. You have to hard commit to that fight. Once the duel was lost, though, at that point, there's no point in VP running away. They have to kind of just group up and say, let's play the numbers game, let's try to take this 5-on-5 fight, which is what they did, but IG just have the farm advantage on them. Like, Ferrari this time around has such a quick mechanism, can't take that fight. Yeah. Now that he's got that Ogre Club, you're not going to burst him down either.
And the crazy thing is, too, that duel started when Ferrari was below 50% of his life. And he still didn't end up winning that duel. The support from VP just wasn't there. Maybe if you had the Laguna Blade from Lil, you would have had that burst damage to get rid of Ferrari and let the duel actually just be a controller, so you can't go for that instant regeneration from Ferrari.
Exactly. That's actually the perfect point, because they don't really have burst damage. Like, you think of a hero like Wind Ranger, after she gets an Aghanim Scepter? Yes.
Illidan is so dead right now. It was a simple 4-man smoke, move up through the mid lane, the blink clamp by Rabbit to start with, and then King J with the Mystic Flare. Man, this guy actually looks like, I don't care if he's a standard IG. Like, if you're questioning this team's ability to function as, like, just like comboing everything together, he's finding the synergy with the team.
In Game 1 and Game 3, they just look like they're playing really, really strong Team Dota. Like, they're having each other's backs. Everybody kind of understands the objective in the fights. The fact that they were able to get into a fight at top and walk away 5-0 is pretty absurd.
Yeah, that's crazy. I should also flag, too, the fact that it is the IG coach who is standing in for Super, who is the man that's missing. And if anyone could probably take that role, it would be the coach.
At the same time, though, it doesn't really replace one of your mainstay players.
Yep.
This is really impressive that they're able to kind of just like pick off where they left off. And this is a really strong VP team. Like, make no mistake about it, this is still the same lineup that got top 6 at TI. But I mean, IG's just absolutely clowning on them right now.
VP gonna fight again. They
have
actually
to go for
smoke
it.
up. Now, there wasn't any vision of Invictus Gaming saying this, but everyone is missing. And in fact, already IG assigned to TP out. You've already got both Chuan as well as King J, the TP down the bottom lane. It does leave the 3 cores on top, and Rabbit actually just blinks and TPs out in the tree line. So Virtus.Pro, there was a ping that came out from IG when it happened. They didn't have vision of the TPs, they didn't actually have vision of the smoke, but they had the mindset to realize that VP were all missing from the lane, and that must be where they are, because their wall coverage is just so good.
Yeah, they were smart enough to understand, okay, with this ward over here, nobody actually ran through, so there's a really good chance that nobody's jungling, nobody's actually defending any of the other lanes. Look at how far mid is pushed in. This is probably one of the bigger tip-offs. The mid lane is almost at the tower already. Nobody's defending that.
Yep.
What else could they possibly be doing?
Yep.
And they think to themselves, okay, we're probably still stronger at this
VP's
phase.
worked out what IG's doing though. Like, they took out a tier 1 tower without any kind of contest from IG. IG are inside Roshan. The power shot will reveal this, and they instantly start with a track over on King J. So IG will not get the trade they are searching for.
I don't know if you can go for that Roshan anyways. I don't think they have a medallion, right?
No.
They've actually built pretty greedy overall. No medallion. Roshan's pretty strong when you're not able to reduce that armor. Yes, you've got presence of the Dark Lord, but the Shadow Fiend doesn't even hit for very much because he's gone for this mech BKB build.
Yep.
This is that 5-man build that we were talking about, but the Wind Ranger's getting pretty close to her Aghanim Scepter. You really want that before you take the next fight. There's actually no reason to take a fight before that point.
I'm interested to see though, like, how effective it's going to be when she has it, because most of the time IG's going to have the vision advantage. Like, Night Stalker is 2,000 away from having his Aghanim Scepter, so we'll have unobstructed vision coming out from him during that night time. The consistent fighting from IG is going to be there when Chuan finishes this. He's been trying to finish this for a very long time. The Urn charge, the Urn's over on Spirit Breaker. The Ferrari has the full BKB under 20 minutes on this Shadow Fiend with a mech. Like, even if they do find the opportunity, like, they have to catch Ferrari out of position.
Yeah, this Shadow Fiend is almost double the Luna's net worth right now, and about 20 minutes in, if you want to compare to a regular game, 10k net worth at about 20 minutes is about right, and this just goes to show that it's actually Illidan who's just incredibly underfarmed right now, and VP, fight after fight that they lose, they can't really afford this right now because IG can continue to just snowball. They've got a really sick timing in the mid game. Brewmaster's so strong right now with that level 2 primal split.
Yep.
But VP's just trying to weather the storm right now, and they're going to get in this bottom fight, but do they have the Aghanim Scepter from the Wind Ranger? Okay, so this is a huge power spike for her. They've got the level 6 ultimate on the Lina as well.
But can she attack? Like, if Brewmaster gets a split off, then Rabbit's going to take her out of the fight straight away.
I mean, this is one of your better opportunities, though, because you can't just continue to give up all your tier 1s and tier 2s
True.
and lose all the map control.
Oh, good VP. They're just behind the tower. They're trying to begin on Ferrari. They got an observer wall, which is giving them a little bit of extra range, and there's your shackle on Ferrari, but Brewmaster, the jumping clap and split. Lillard's just getting completely burst back, and he will get the Laguna Blade off, but it's on Luo. He took no damage. The charge back too. Robos never even starts the duel. Illidan gets control. These Brewlings are causing absolute havoc for Virtus.Pro. There's your Wind Ranger up in the air. The stun will connect on Illidan, and the Razors will finish the job. A double kill for Ferrari. Now they can turn around. They go on God. He just wants to TP out, but he has denied that as well as FNG. He's on the runaway to safety. The dust already hasn't revealed, but I do remember they're here for objective-based gaming, and they're underneath a tier 3 tower before they've even taken the tier 1 tower on that lane.
Rabbit's just been unbelievable this game. The amount of chaos that he's able to cause just with that primal split and blink dagger. His micro has just been perfect. Playing that hero with absolute finesse right now, and I mean, you just see how disruptive he is in every single fight. He's constantly refreshing the cooldown on his rock. He's lifting heroes up one after another. VP just have to commit for fights at that point, but they can't really get away because all of their damage just kind of goes away once Lil is controlled and once they lose the Wind Ranger.
Yep. And what's she going to do about it? Buy a BKB at this point? It's probably the only thing that will allow her to fight underneath that Brewmaster ulti, but then you've got a Spirit Breaker that can just focus her.
At this phase of the game, you kind of have to continue to try to play around Rabbit's ultimate timing, but VP, they just get further and further behind, and at some point, you have to wonder, like, how many consecutive fights can we lose before it doesn't even matter.
They really need this. When you're behind, try and go for something big. Roshan's going to be it. Like, Ferrari is almost double the net worth of the Wind Ranger. They need a second life. They need immortality. But what they don't need is IG coming from the dire side of the river to charge in after the bounty hunter. They've only got one track off. Again, the Laguna Blade being wasted. Ferrari winds up the Requiem. The Eclipse does almost nothing. God's dying inside the pit. Illidan's sealed up, so he can't do much more. It might be a one-for-one trade-off right now. In fact, Ferrari got controlled. He got bashed up by Roshan, so he couldn't keep fighting. As VP, they're actually kiting out IG at the moment. The Light Striker Razor doing the work, but Rabbit, he's back, and the split is up. Lil will get control. Instantly, the Storm Brewling is chasing to try and find out God. Unable to do so, but the Sealer's on the Bounty Hunter. He doesn't have mana. He needs the one charge. Just 1 second, and there he gets it. He goes invis inside the tree lines. They're going to try and find him at the moment, but they cannot do so. So it ends up being a 2-for-2 trade-off. Rabbit is not a healthy man, and FNG, he's actually sticking around. Are they thinking about... They might be thinking about going back in for this if someone's low enough, but they're regenerating too quickly now.
That was probably the best fight that they've taken all game. The fact that that wasn't a complete disaster, even with that Bruce split, this is the first time in this game where they've been able to kind of just get out scot-free. They were able to, I don't even know how that happens, because they were all so committed in that Roshan pit. They're able to get out, but...
It looked like they got separated, like the SF, like Ferrari just went inside the pit because he was chasing down the kill. And then he got bashed up by Roshan and just lost his momentum. He wasn't with the rest of his team.
Yeah, Rabbit's ultimate was also used under no vision whatsoever, and so VP are going to say to themselves, okay, they don't have the Bruce split, they don't have a BKB or that SF ultimate, let's take this fight immediately, and this might actually be their best opportunity.
BKB's back up, but they've lost FNG. He's underneath that Radiant Sentry Ward. Roshan down to 500, in comes Chuan. Who's going to take it? Belongs to the die. Wind Ranger with that second life, but Ferrari with the BKB, he gets through Illidan, there goes the bonus damage, but then again, Phobos does finally win one of his duel, and Teal will just be picked off. The bouncing around, 5 euros lost for VP. I highly doubt this Aegis the Immortal is going to allow the Wind Ranger to escape. God, he's going to get silenced up, running himself away, but then they just void him. They are waiting for just the instant kill, and there it is. A triple kill comes in for Ferrari, and a double damage rune again during one of these big fights, and it's a 1-for-5 trade-off, technically a 1-for-6 trade-off, because they also burn the Aegis.
VP just don't have enough damage in the tank anymore. The IG lineup is so tanky. You've got Luo, who's playing the Night Stalker. He's got a full Aghanim Scepter flying in, 2k HP on him. Chuan playing the support Spirit Breaker, 1500 health on him. Rabbit, you don't even want to talk about whether you can kill him when he's got that Primal split up, and Ferrari has a BKB and a mech. I mean, it doesn't sound like the best crew. It sounds like a really motley crew, but at the same time, you've got just such tanky cores left and right, and a support that can back you up at the same time.
Yeah, the survivability is just built into the heroes itself. And I also love the fact, too, that we can have someone like Ferrari 4-3-0 on a team who doesn't have to play the Brewmaster for the Brewmaster to be a high-impact hero. The fact that Rabbit has just been so good with 2 signature Brewmaster players on their side. Even Luo has a lot of experience playing the Brewmaster. It's maybe one of those new heroes for the patch that IG will be looking at more consistently in the future.
I mean, ever since that early death that Rabbit suffered at that bottom lane, 2-1-16 so far. Has had absolutely game-changing impact so far in this game. Just when you look at how he uses his Broodlings, he like sends one to stun, he immediately wind walks with that blue one, just so VP have no idea where it's going, lifts up another hero, just creates absolute chaos in the fights. IG are doing the smart thing here, trying to slow down the pace of the game a little bit, go for that ancient stack, continue to power level and power farm, get as far ahead as you can over VP before you take this next fight. I mean, if you just look at Ferrari's net worth,
Ferrari's through the roof. He's finished a mana style. He's got, okay, what are we even looking at for gold per minute? He's sitting at 617 gold per minute, 26 minutes in. Like, as far as CS goes, he doesn't even need to crack the 200 mark. He's gone 13 kills, 2 deaths, and 8 assists for his team. You can't really ask much more of your SF, and they're preparing to fight once again. Even the rest of IG, you're looking at big items. Chuan has just completely bypassed the whole concept of going for that urn. He doesn't want it anymore. He's going in for the BKB build instead, having that Ogre Club up very early on. And Luo has not only Aghanim Scepter, but he also has the gem to boot, which he purchased himself, so he didn't have to take any money away from his supports. They have perfect vision. VP, you said like in that bottom fight where it didn't really go the way of IG, you actually went more the way of VP. The IG were battling into no vision. Now they've always got vision. In fact, VP are the ones that have been walking blind to the map because they just can't keep wards up. track is like their main source of vision, and that got heavily nerfed in the patch.
Yeah, with Luo picking up this this Gemma True Sight and his Aghanim Scepter, one of the better ways to get back into the game is if VP actually can play the vision game and kind of outmaneuver them, but
how do you do that?
You are not doing that anymore.
It's not really possible. Here's the fight. Illidan's brought himself an Alpha Wolf, so at least there's a little bit more damage coming into this VP lineup.
Still no BKB on him. He has to be so careful in this fight right now. If Rabbit just decides he's like, okay, I'm going to go split, open up on this team, there's not a whole lot that VP can do to help him out without that BKB. But IG still have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to overcommit for anything if you can help it.
Yeah.
You don't have an Aegis or anything like that, which is usually what you want to go for before you go for these high ground pushes. And the Roshan's not going to be up for quite a long time, so...
VP should be able to defend this. They even got buyback on Luna and Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
They shouldn't lose Rax here. They may have an economic hit, but beyond that, they shouldn't lose map. They shouldn't lose the Rax.
Yeah, this is a really weird situation, because normally it's IG that'll have the Aegis, but VP, because they were able to get it for themselves, even though they lost it instantly, you're still kind of slowing down the pace of the game for IG.
Here's the
but
charge.
This is the worst possible thing that can happen.
Right now on Wind Ranger. Chuan, he's so far out, the Eclipse will happen, but Ferrari winds up the ulti. Illidan will end up exploding. The Shackle will still be able to connect. It may only buy space for VP to run out of here with the Brewmaster ulti. Sending Phobos up, he dropped him back down again so they can keep that stun going. They want the kill on the Legion Commander so they can move on to bigger and better things. And you just see the dive. Up goes the Lina, and down comes the Lina as Rabbit will be here. The main Bruling has arrived. Ferrari's also there. Lil, I'm sorry, sir. Your life is about to be ended. God is trying to keep him alive, but then Chuan, they're underneath tier 4 towers fighting this. The Rex has hit in as Illidan. Well, he might have come back, but he ended up dying almost directly after. Wind Ranger, the sole survivor for VP, and the only player on VP that has a buyback. IG lost absolutely nothing. Not a sausage, not a sizzle. And GG, it's over. VP will be eliminated in the quarterfinals. Invictus Gaming, the champions of Frankfurt 2014, will try and keep their dream alive as they push through into the semifinals.
We can say that this was... It's reasonable to say that this was kind of an upset. Like, VP for me were one of the favorites coming into this tournament. I thought that IG, especially with the stand-in, they were going to be a little bit weaker. But the 2 games they won, those were such clean victories.
This is the type of Dota which I remember seeing during the ESL One qualifiers, when we saw teams like LGD and VG Gaming made to look like the tier 2 teams of VG Gaming. Like it was like VG Gaming potential instead of actually the real VG Gaming. This is the type of Dota that IG played during that series, and that's why I don't really feel like this is much of an upset, because this is what I was expecting from IG, even with the stand-in. So I'm not going to say I called this, but at the same time, you're right. VP, they are a solid team. They are a top team. They should be on even footing with Virtus.Pro, but IG, they just played really, really great Dota. Their initiation game, this time with the Blink Dagger, they made space, they made their plays, their heroes worked this game.
Yeah, I absolutely can't wait for the analysts to dissect how well Rabbit played this game. Hopefully they agree with me.
Well, you're going to find out about them in just a moment. For now, though, we need to actually throw it to our main stage because the winner's interview is there with Dakota.
All right, I am here with Chuan of Invictus Gaming. Chuan, you come in here, late notice, you replace E-Home, you're playing with a stand-in, and you still manage to beat Virtus.Pro 2-1. That must feel good. Were you expecting that?
就是你2-1 VP， 你觉得是我们预期的吗？还是就是你觉得他很强，然后没有？
我们在新版本没有训练过，然后而且也不是一个队来的，就是周洋把我们替补，然后我们就当训练导吧，然后成长自己吧。
So we haven't been practiced since the new patch, and we have a stand-in. So basically, we just take this opportunity to as a training process. So we gonna, grown up step by step. Yeah.
It's pretty good training so far. It's working out pretty well. I gotta ask, what is it like playing with King J, playing with your coach? Is it different at all? Does he seem to fit right in? If he feeds, do you give him a hard time about it? How does that interaction work?
就是说King J 以前是我们教练嘛，然后你跟 King J 一起打有什么感觉？就是他是非常适合我们呢，还是说就是需要一些其他的，就是更多的那种合作什么的？就
然后 就是我没有跟他一对过，然后他也是比较经验老道的选手，然后我也不知道他是一个怎样的选手，但是刚才跟他打了之后，第一场，特别是第一场，他让我有点吃惊，就是他还可以保持这样的状态。
So King J hasn't been active as a player for a long time, but and Chuan haven't been a teammate with him before, actually, as a player. So, but in game one, he actually quite surprised about King J's performance because since he's not been active for so long, and he still performed pretty good. So Chuan was a little bit surprised about that. Yeah.
Impressed, the coach shook off the rust, performed pretty well. Awesome. So now you're moving to the semifinals, and you're going to be facing either Vega or EG. Who do you want to go up against?
就是说半决赛的话，我们有可能要么打 Vega， 要么打 EG。你想选谁？就是如果能选的话。
希望可以打EG吧，因为要打就打最厉害的。
Another 22-0, hopefully. We'll see. Chuan, congratulations again. Let's give it up for Chuan and Invictus Gaming. Let's go ahead and also throw it back to our experts over at the Alpha Draft Analyst Panel. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Man, we talked about that series of IG versus VP being one of the best on our first day here at ESL One New York. And man, it lived up to the hype. A bloodbath till the bitter end.
And Blitz, baby, I got your back because Rabbit, I think the best comment that I heard all series long, we were talking about it, but the best comment was something I saw flash by on the Twitter feed. Rabbit, you're an animal.
Absolutely. Honey, your impression of Game 3?
I mean, I was hoping that VP is gonna win this series. I thought they had a pretty good chance, but to me the gameplay, the way VP works best is if God has a big high impact in these games, and he just couldn't have those. I think the early game, or like around the 12-minute mark, the fights just didn't turn out in VP's favor.
And how crazy is this? An opening exchange where both mid players die before 105.
Even just seeing 5 heroes in the mid lane at the 30-second mark, it just speaks to the aggression coming out from these teams. G concedes the first blood here, and not only 30 seconds later, Ferrari about to go down to the wrath of the bounty hunter.
It was a lot of damage, surprisingly.
And there we see the 12-minute mark. That's the first fight pretty much where it went downhill for VP.
And there's Rabbit himself.
They almost salvaged this. They did still lose Lil here, so it was not as bad as it could have been, but still losing your tier 1 tower in addition to those heroes, it made it very tough.
The problem here is the follow-up fight, that they choose to fight here.
This was really strange. They lost Illidan in this exchange, and it was just totally unnecessary.
And as you can see, the Luna ulti just does not follow up there well.
Yep, then the counter charge comes in, and this is where things get even worse for Virtus.Pro. Illidan sticks around just a little bit too long after the press-tier attack. They dive into the trees, and it ends up being a triple kill for 430. Now we move up to the top lane here again, just a few minutes later. Non-stop kills. They commit so hard onto 430. He barely lives, gets off the mech, and now the tables turn, and again, it's a disastrous fight for Virtus.Pro.
And they end up getting all 5 here. And this fight really was, we felt, what just put the game almost out of reach for VP.
They almost won, though. Like, if they would have killed Shadow Fiend, that fight would have been completely different. The damage would have been much less. From there, they just would have had to survive the Panda disables and then deal with the next damage source or the squishiest hero, which is probably either the Skywrath Mage or maybe even the Spirit Breaker.
And Lil trying to TP out just as the Brute ult ends. He manages to get off the Cyclone for the interrupt, and of course it does become a 5-hero wipe here as Lil gets finished off. Very impressive stuff.
And that's a 6.85 change, by the way. A lot of people talking about a lot of heroes today. We haven't necessarily mentioned Brew, but that ulti got a big-time buff. The Wind Panda and the Earth Panda both got that cooldown reduction and the AoE increase on the Dispel. I mean, you saw Rabbit put that to such good use. That's actually something they had tried to do in the past. They had, way back in the summer, tried to run Burning on the Brewmaster. Never quite looked comfortable, but Rabbit, I'm telling you, just coming into his own with that team.
What stood out to me, though, was the Brew pick. I felt was very fitting just because there was no silence. Usually the counter to Brew is often that you don't get your split off, and he managed to, like, before the split, he gets the slam, and he gets the initial slow and nuke, which is usually very important before he got nerfed, and that you didn't have the chance to silence. So often what you see nowadays is that it would be the dagger initiation into an ulti straight away, but given the fact that there was no silence or little disable that could prevent him of getting up the nuke. It was a good game for him.
They almost caught him a couple times as well. Like you would see DK Phobos channeling duel. He'd be about to cast it, and then the split would come out, and then the fight was essentially over because you can't stop the Brewlings, and he would then absorb the Eclipse. So it made it so hard. If they had a Rubik on the team to instantly lift, or if they had a Skywrath Mage to instantly silence, they could have killed him consistently, and the fights might have gone good. But going back a little bit, I really think the biggest thing that they lost was that DK Phobos was winning the lane initially, but then he went to the rune spot, he grabbed that invis, and then he walked mid to look for a kill, and he was level 5, and he stayed there too long. If he just would have gone back to his lane, picked up his level 6, and then maybe started rotating, they could have done stuff on the map, but he delayed his team's ability to get kills for so long by delaying that 6, and he basically gave up on Blink because then they were behind. And I really feel like if he just got the 6, he might have transitioned into a kill, into maybe being able to safely farm the off lane because they were winning in kills, and then that would have gotten him a Blink. But instead he just gave up on that 6 for like 2 minutes, despite winning his lane originally, and then it just really put him behind, and they stuck mid with 4 heroes, and they took bad fights, and then it was just the snowball of the losing.
I still feel like you saw Ferrari's experience factor on that Shadow Fiend, and that's 47 career wins now on the SF, second all-time behind Arteezy.
Yep. Well, a series that we could talk about for a while, but we're going to have to go to a break here as we do have our final series set to get underway. We still got a great one coming up. Evil Geniuses versus Vega right around the corner, folks. You're going to want to stick around because that's coming up next here at ESL One New York.